By federal standards, 6% of the state lacked access to high-speed internet. FCC data showed that gap in 2017 widens fairly substantially all across the valley, including Union County, where an estimated 21% lack such access. Why or why not is the availability of broadband internet critical in rural parts of Union County, and what steps, if any, should county government take to address this issue?
That's an excellent question. And rural broadband is actually one of the reasons why I got into this race. It's the primary reason why I got into this race. I live in Kelly Township. I live in a more rural part of Union County. And our only internet option out there is Windstream. It's very expensive. We pay probably at least twice as much as what we would have paid when we lived in the apartment in South Williamsport for a service that isn't as good. And we can afford it, thankfully, because we are a 2-income household, but not a lot of people are as lucky as we are. I think broadband is critical because it is, to me, fundamentally an economic issue. I think one of the things that we need to start doing when we talk about broadband is to think of it as an economic issue and not a luxury issue, which I think a lot of people think that, it'd be nice, but what are you going to do? I don't think that's an acceptable answer in the 21st century. I think we need to do whatever we can to improve that grid, to get more people online, so we can have, better educational opportunities for people in the valley, better employment opportunities for people in the valley, and just to be able to better compete in the 21st century economy. And there are some state and federal monies available to try and offset that cost. Those opportunities should absolutely be explored. There's also a push that I've just read about recently for private, internet conglomerates, if you will, to, develop, dump resources into developing their own broadband infrastructure. That is also an option that needs to be explored, because if we don't get better access, we're going to continue to be left behind, and we're going to continue to see, the region sort of stagnate.
Union County Commissioners went 8 years without a tax increase before a slight increase in the general fund millage entering 2017. The board held the line in the 2 budget years since. Do you envision any scenario where you think a tax increase would be unavoidable, and would you see that playing out over the coming 4-year term?
It's a good question. It's always nice to hold the line on taxes, and if you can, you should. But, if we're talking about capital investments in things such as, say, broadband, obviously that's going to have to be funded. And if tax increases are an option to improve the lives of Union County residents, perhaps it should be explored. Now, that's not to say it can't be done without raising taxes, but I can't say for sure until I get in there and really look at the numbers.
What do you believe to be the most pressing issue facing Union County residents, and do you have a plan to address that?
That's an excellent question. I truly believe that underemployment is the most pressing issue facing Union County residents. Underemployment is widespread, not only in Union County, but in the surrounding counties. The unemployment numbers don't really tell the whole story. We have all these universities here, world-class universities. We educate these students, they leave, they don't come back. Our own children get educated, whether they stay local or go away to school, they don't come back. The reason they're not coming back is because there aren't enough opportunities for them. So we need to sort of diversify our employer base, if you will, to try and make it more attractive for people to come here and to stay here. And I think one of the main things we can do to improve that situation is to improve our digital infrastructure.
What do you believe to be the most under-the-radar issue facing Union County residents? Something that's not getting a lot of publicity, something that's not being talked about, and do you have a solution to address that?
That's a good question. Depends. It depends how on the radar you feel broadband is. Honestly, it depends on who you talk to. You know, some people think that it's not a big deal. Some people think it'll take care of itself. We don't need to really worry about it. Other people, like myself, see it as a huge deal. I think, as a general rule, you know, one of the big things that we need to work on as a region is, like I said, to diversify our employer base, to make it a more attractive place to be. And whether it's broadband, whether it's other types of industry coming in here, I think that's something that needs to be explored. Right now, we're primarily a healthcare, education, agriculture, tourism economy, and those are all wonderful industries. But, you know, there are other things that we can do, I think, to make it more attractive.
Why do you believe voters of Union County should choose you to become the county commissioner?
I think they should choose me because I have a background in technology. I also have a background in journalism. I'm not a career politician, you know, and honestly, I've only been in the Valley since 2011. So I come from the eastern part of the state in the Wilkes-Barre area. So I'm bringing a fresh perspective to the issues that face this community. And I'm here, I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future. You know, my partner has children in school here. We are not going anywhere. So I think it's time for some fresh eyes, some fresh faces, fresh ideas, and I think that's really what I can bring to the table, just because I have a little bit different perspective from my background, and also because as a former journalist, I'm not afraid to ask tough questions. So that's why I think if you're looking to shake things up, you should look to my candidacy on May 21st.
Heidi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Eric.